Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5-7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network here. Race number 2. It's going to be the first one on the docket here. We'll have to upload the other one. Patrick Spangler, man, the man who I said do not apologize in that last chat. Well, came through in the clutch here. Of course, it was me. I had something typed in wrong in another box this whole time. And Patrick Spangler to the rescue, saves the day. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And we're going to get ready to roll into qualifying. As drivers do this, though, let's take a look at the points. Andy Patton, the leader by 10 points over Joseph Grandy, 536 to 526. Donovan Ross at 502, so maybe not out of it with a good finish here and some bad luck on the front 2 drivers in front of him. But right now, you got to think Andy Patton and Joseph Grandy going to be in the battle for this one here this evening. So let's see. Who's out on the racetrack the furthest ahead? Well, Keith Jackson. Let's follow Keith Jackson here. Keith running right up against that outside wall, man. No room for mistakes up there. He's using every inch of the racing surface. Keith Jackson comes around. Lap number 1. What's it going to be? Keith Jackson with a 13.61 is he's going to be the quick time for the moment. We watch Joseph Grandy here second time around as he's battling for the points here this evening. We're going to go with the General Andy Patton here next. We'll see what Grandy does. Second time around, can he improve? The answer is no. As your current champion, the 87, the General Andy Patton in the A&J Custom Creations Inferno Motorsports 87. What's he going to do here? Lap number 1. Coming down the backstretch. Slider line through 3 and 4. Goes upstairs, hits the cushion, mashes the throttle, and what's it going to be? P3 for the General. Right behind his teammate in the 518, Joseph Grandy, who we accidentally just clicked Joseph Grandy and made it go off of him here. We got the 11 of Chad Cote coming out on the racetrack. He's P2. Devo, he pulls it in a lap early. He had another lap to go. The General pulls off. Chad Cote comes around, not going to improve. Yellow. There's only 16 drivers here registered for this session. Not too sure if we'll get all of them. Corey Schartzer and Trevor Giroux did not put in a qualifying lap, but we'll have to see. Plenty of time here for the drivers to decide. So, got to think probably 2 heat races, 8 drivers apiece, I'd imagine. But we'll see here as we get ready to take a look here at the starting lineup. And, well, that's exactly what it's going to be. 2 heat races, 8 drivers apiece. Rounding out the field, Trevor Gierks in the 075 to the inside, the 34 of Gary Taylor. Row 3 to the outside, the Bassman in the 747, Roger Craig. To the inside, the 96 of Nick Schell. Row 2 to the outside, the 113 of Keith Jackson. To the inside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. Row number 1 here for heat race number 1. And, well, actually, every single thing about this determines the inside row. So where you finish is where you're going to start in the inside row, because only 2 heat races. So we're racing for the bottom side here of tonight's feature. But to the outside, Devo, Donovan Ross. And starting on the pole, the 94 of Gary Offit, who did not make the grid. That moves the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy, to the pole. And now I know they're teammates, but Andy Patton, man, he didn't want it to get any easier there for the 518. Joseph Grandy, and he just made it a lot easier on himself starting on the pole here as the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 1 is underway here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Sorry if we run into some overlay issues there. I notice that my logo isn't up there up top, so I've got a feeling this is probably going to time out and refresh. There we go. It's done this in the past. And hopefully it'll be up here pretty soon. There we go. Keith Jackson to the outside, looking here to hold on to P2 is Joseph Grandy, man. Just storming away out front. Joseph, always quick when you throw a wing on a sprint car, and 100 grand looking just like that. But Keith Jackson right around the outside. Smooth, man. No hiccups at all, but there's contact back here. Nick Schell gets into the 34. Gary Taylor goes up into the outside, and Roger Craig looking to take advantage. He moves up into P4. Gary Taylor with a slide job, thinking about cutting back underneath, but he's got the 96 there. He's got company, gets into the Bassman, both hard into the wall, and now we're battling for the lead. Keith Jackson with a little slide job. 100 grand back down to the basement. Joseph Grandy trying to fight tooth and nail, but Keith Jackson, man, maybe a little too tough to tame here in the early stages. Keith Jackson, welcome to the lead here as you see Joseph Grandy hop right in the tire tracks. Here at Keith Jackson, what does he do? He's going to look to the inside. Through 3 and 4, white flag in the air. One more trip around the dirt track at Charlotte. Can 100 grand find a way back on around? Or will the 113 of Keith Jackson be too much? He goes right to the outside, looking to rip the lip. Joseph to the inside. Keith Jackson wins heat race number 1, and he's going to start on the pole. Joseph Grandy, Donovan Ross, Nick Schell, Roger Craig, Gary Offit, Gary Taylor, and Trevor Gierix. I keep accidentally almost calling him Giroux. I don't mean to. We all know it's pronounced Gierix now. As we take a look here. Oh, and you know something? How you doing out there, Hollow? I noticed you wrote. I didn't even notice. Shame on me, because I was talking about bringing up another stream. I saw in my chat there that Mike Brewer is supposed to be a father tomorrow. Well, everyone, congratulations to Mike Brewer. Mike, we hope everything goes awesome. And, man, hopefully we got another racer here in the Coast to Coast community. Now, you got to be 18, so it's going to be a little bit. But I'll probably still be here calling the races. Heat race number 2, row 4 to the outside, the 6 of Corey Schartzer. To the inside, the 012 of Bob Curtis. Row number 3 to the outside, the mare, Steve Bixler in the 75. To the inside in the 16, the Barber, Matt Barber. Row 2 to the outside, the Goose, Chad Cote. To the inside, the General, Andy Patton. And row number 1 for heat race number 2 to the outside, Steve Maurer. And starting on the pole, Scott Rayome. As man, the overlay not wanting to behave. Hopefully it doesn't do a double refresh here this time. Sometimes it does that. But the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 2 is underway here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Oh, boy. Oh, Steve Maurer hard in the outside wall. Up and over like a top. It's a little early here for Hanukkah. But boy, oh, boy, spinning around here the backstretch at the dirt track at Charlotte. And now Scott Rayome holding on to P4 after a oh, no, he's still got a car flipped over on the racetrack. Oh, my gosh. Steve Bixler tore up as well. Not too sure what happened to the mare, but boy, oh, boy. Landmine through 3 and 4. Just in time. Maurer's able to eject. I don't know if I'd have wanted to sit there for 2 more trips around the racetrack, but the Goose, man, flapping his wings on the outside, the 11 ready to fly. Going down the backstretch here, sends it under the top shelf here in 3 and 4. Chad definitely quick on the outside, but what will he do here? Because if he runs down Andy, I imagine Andy, he's probably going to go up and shut that door, as most drivers would. You see that head of steam coming, but got to play nice here with Andy. Andy's the point leader, man. He's in a big points battle, so a lot's got to go through your mind here if you're the Goose. You can't just go up here and, well, really treat it like it's any other race. I know you want to go win this thing, but going to have to play nice here. 2 laps to go. The Barber hanging on to 4th place. You see Bob Curtis behind him. We're pretty much all strung out. This is where the battle's at as we're coming out of 4. White flag in the air. Chad Cote, man, he's got them wings flapping. The Goose really causing a ruckus there on the high side. Battle for the lead. Final time through 3 and 4. Andy Patton not able to slide up and shut the door. And the Goose steals the checkered flag on the last lap here in heat race number 2. Followed by Andy Patton, Scott Rayome, Matt Barber, Bob Curtis, Steve Bixler, Steve Maurer, and Corey Schartzer. We're going to take a short break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And we're going to be right back with, man, shame on me. I apologized in the freaking 358 Modifieds. Your Race Med and Salty Dog sponsor the Rebels here, and I'll tell you what, I'm not going to forget the sponsor for the A. Hold me to it. We'll be right back. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Remember, the 518 and the 87, those are your point contenders. The 87 of Andy Patton, the 10-point lead over his teammate in the 518, Joseph Grandy, as warm-ups come to a close. And Grandy, man, he's at the top of the charts. And Andy Patton, if he'd finished 7th, that may be enough for Joseph Grandy to steal this thing. We'll have to wait, for at the end of this race, we'll get our statistician, Patrick Spangler, to tally up the results for us. And, well, see, another unsung thing he does. He does it all. Do it all, Dave, that guy. So let's take a look here. Starting lineup, row 8. I don't think we've got either of these guys. I don't think they're B drivers, so we're going to skip them. Row 7 to the outside, 888, Steve Maurer. To the inside, the 34 of Gary Taylor. Row 6 to the outside, the 75 of Steve Bixler. To the inside, the 94 of Gary Offit. Row 5 to the outside, the 012 of Bob Curtis. To the inside, the Bassman, Roger Craig. Row 4 to the outside, the Barber, Matt Barber. To the inside, the 96 of Nick Shell. Row 4 to the outside, the 444 of Scott Rayone. To the inside, the 05 of Devo Donovan Ross. Row 2 to the outside, the 87 of the General Andy Patton. To the inside, the 518 of Joseph Grandy. That's your championship row here, row 2. Keep an eye out. Row 1 for your 360 Rebel Sprint Car season finale here at the dirt track at Charlotte. To the outside, the 11 of the Goose, Chad Cote. To the inside, starting on the pole, the 113 of Keith Jackson. So we're going to go around one more time here. Let the drivers get a little bit of heat in them motors. And, this is where if you're Andy and Joe, maybe you make one final plea. You say, guys, running for points tonight. I know you want to go get this thing. By all means, go take that checkered piece of laundry. I don't need that. I want the hardware. So race me good. I need a trophy above that fireplace, and we'll have to see which one of those two drivers bring it home. Now, Andy, I'm not too sure that the NJ Custom Creations now. He used to make a lot of these trophies. He may still make them. So Andy, he may be making a real special one for the 358 or for the 360 Rebels as the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Keith Jackson drops the hammer, and we got 30 to play here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Keith right away to the outside, the Goose. He's got to check up, but right away, Joseph Grandy, man, he wants to steal the hardware. He says, Andy, we're teammates. You know where I live. Send it my way. I'm going to take over the lead here in the early stages. Grandy to the inside, Jackson to the outside. Who's going to prevail here? Grandy slides up out of 4, and you got to think that's probably where you want to be here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Let's see what they look like coming out of 2. Grandy in the basement. Ooh, sends it in. Devo going down low, too. I like what Devo's doing. Keep an eye out on that 05, man. Devo trying to move his way up into the top 4. Looking under the General Andy Patton, but Devo right now just can't find enough grip center of the corner. He's got plenty coming off. You just see it spikes there a little bit as he's going over those shiny patches. And just over-rotating the car a little too much. And right now, Joseph Grandy doing all he can do to bring home the hardware, but right now the General, he's keeping him pretty close. Andy Patton hanging out in 4th place. I'm not too sure who would bring home this trophy right now if we finished in this order. But boy, oh boy, man, that is going to be the story here all throughout the night at the dirt track at Charlotte. And I think right now, there's no bigger Keith Jackson fan than the driver of that 87. I know he's a rival, not on his team, but if Keith could go up here, steal some points from the driver of the 518, that would help Andy that much more as Keith trying to reel him in. Let's take a look back here. The 888 is Steve Maurer. He's in a bit of a kerfuffle. We got a lot of drivers behind him. The Barber Looking to the outside in the 16. Can he get a run? The answer is no. And Scott Rayom going to look to the inside here in the middle. Oh, Steve gets a little loose. He hooks Scotty. Big wreck. No caution flag waves here just yet. Oh, man, and I don't think we're going to get one. Boy, oh, boy, a flagman caught sleeping, and now Grandy can't go to the inside. Keith Jackson, he's going to take the lead here, and that's where, boy, oh, boy, I wish I could grab iRacing and say caution, caution, caution. Well, we continue here. Joseph trying to float up and shut the door, coming off a 4. Grandy back to the lead here with 19 to go. You got to think he's saying, Shaggy, don't worry about me. I'm a big boy. I can control myself. And I think, when the racing gets close, now we see Grandy go up to the top shelf, especially through 4. He's been so focused on running the bottom of the racetrack, really conservative stuff, trying to make sure he's got something for the final few laps. But if he's forced to, I think he'll go upstairs and beat the outside wall down, because Keith, man, he is not worried about saving any tire right now. He is ready to go. Your point leader looking to the inside. He sees the lap car, the 888 of Steve Maurer. He's trying to get by him as clean as he can. The General does just that, but battle for the lead once again. You saw Keith Jackson had it for a moment there on the leaderboard, but Grandy prevailed. Not too sure if Keith sent it in, got in the outside wall. Oh, no! Joseph Grandy goes around, and we're going to hope that he holds onto a spot, and the 0-1-2 was the reason for the caution, but boy, oh boy, if not, Joseph Grandy may have just, oh no, he is the caution, and Joseph Grandy may have just watched the championship fall away. Let's take a look here. Now, it looks like he's Bob does not send that in deep. He just didn't know Joe was going to go to the inside. He thought he was doing the right thing by staying to the inside, and I think he was. This is really tough, man. You got to feel for Grandy. You really do. But Bob, you can see the front wheels are turning as he goes in. There's nothing really more you can do. You can't. Now, we go cockpit here. And this is just, I have a single monitor. So this is, the views we get for the broadcast. This is what you see. If he has a single monitor, this is really all he sees. Look in that little triangle, that little gap. You can see the car closing in on you a little bit. But before he knows it, he's just right there. And realistically, this isn't a shot at Bob. But, the guys that are running the bottom and really quick, they're not running it like that. And Bob hasn't been running the bottom. He's just trying to get out of the way of the leaders. And he's just put into a tough spot there. You really, really, really got to feel for that, man. Here's Keith Jackson going to roll on the high side as the Steve King Foundation pace truck's off. The green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 14 laps to go at the dirt track at Charlotte. Andy Patton, man, maybe not the way he wanted it, but he's got a little smirk under that helmet. He knows he's just got to keep this thing straight here. He's got to stay out of any nonsense. And I think we're going to see the General, maybe willing to lose the spot to Nick Shell if Nick gets a big run on the outside. I think, he's racing for the hardware, but out front, Keith Jackson, Pace and the rest of the field, he's got almost a full second lead over the 5 of Donovan Ross. Devo trying to do what he can here, but not much of a cushion up top. You see right up against that outside wall. There's no room for mistakes. And Chad Cote, man, trying to force that 5 into one of them because Chad likes that outside as well. So, there was a mistake. Devo stuck in that outside wall. The General in the basement down there. He's trying to take advantage. He's moving back up into P3 for the moment. The Goose had to crack the throttle. And Andy Patton in the 87, excuse me. Oh my gosh! Where did it come from? Joseph Granny, welcome back into the championship talks. Joseph Granny to the inside under Chad Cote. He doesn't have the grip, man, but he wants this thing. He knows he's got to go. He's got to find a way around his teammate in the 87, and then he's going to need a caution. Joseph Grandy, he's got to be perfect from here on out. Finds that little tacky patch on the entrance of 3. Cuts the corner down a little bit. Makes some time on Devo. Goes back down to the bottom in 1 and 2. Tries to find all that moisture down there. Floats up. Really trying to find all the speed he can, but he's running out of time as Keith Jackson, man, he's way up the road. And Andy Patton running now P2. You got to think, oh, Joseph Granny. Oh, he's tightrope walking up there on the high side. There was no room. He got around anyway. Welcome to the podium, Joseph Grandy. Now he's got to find a way around his teammate in the 87, and he's got to bring the goose with him. He needs a couple guys in between him and Andy if he wants to bring home the hardware, but we're running out of time. 4 laps to go is Keith Jackson. My, oh my, this is Keith Jackson. This is the battle for P2 is Joseph Grandy to the outside. 3 laps to go. Joseph Grandy right back in front of the 87, but he needs a caution. He needs a caution if he wants to go up here and battle with the 113 because Keith Jackson, he's already got 2 to go. Andy, he's got to be smooth here, man. We're going to be coming up on the lap car maybe in this final lap as the white flag flies this time. 1 more trip around for the 113 of Keith Jackson. Oh, man. Joseph Grandy needs the goose to get around the 87. If the goose gets around the 87, this is going to be interesting. But if not, I think we give it to Patton as Keith Jackson takes the checkers. Grandy. Patton edges out Cote by 0.05 of a second for P3. Cote 4th and Devo rounding out the top 5. Now, man, I'm going to wait for confirmation from Patrick Spangler. Going to head on over here to the Facebook chat. We're going to see if Patrick gives us the update. Going to wait for final confirmation. But I do believe Andy Patton will be our season champion here after coming home P3. But I'm telling you, I'm wrong a lot. Who knows what could happen here? We'll have to see. We're waiting for it to roll in. I promise. As soon as I get it, that's the first thing I'm going to say here. Go back. There were no cautions either. That whole race. Pretty unbelievable. There was that. Oh, wait. No, yes, there was. There was 1 caution. I'm a liar. 1 caution. But still. The guys really hammering it out here. The dirt track at Charlotte. Having a lot of fun. Still waiting from the high side banger Patrick Spangler, but you gotta think. You gotta think it's gonna be him. I don't want to pull him up first because he finished P3. We're gonna just wait, and maybe we'll see. Maybe it actually updates on the actual coast to coast page. Maybe I see it. If I can update it over here. Oh, no. Driver standing. See, this is on the Sim Hub. See, that's why I didn't do this. It looks like with the drop weeks, man, oh, man, Joseph Grandy might have stole this thing by 8 points with what I'm seeing now. I'm going to see here. I'm going to try to reload this page because I didn't get anything from Patrick yet. Let's see here. 358 modified, open. Joseph Grandy. Yep, I see it on the website. It's official, man. 100 grand takes the championship too there with a huge comeback. Absolutely Unbelievable. Let's see here. If we can get a word here with Andy. Man, oh man. I don't even know how to say this, dude. Did we look at the website yet?
Yeah. Well, I already knew. I knew going in, Joe was going to have this thing. He had like a 12-point. With the 2 drop weeks, he would have had like a 12-point lead. And, hey, I gave it everything I had, man, for my 62-year-old ass. It was all I had.
No, man, you're not kidding. And, I know you don't get the view we had, but boy, oh boy, I mean, you saw Grandy. I mean, he got spun there, a little contact with the lap car. And were you thinking maybe at that point, you had a shot at this thing? Because, dude, I did not think he'd storm his way back up through the field. I just didn't think there was the time.
Oh, my God, you don't know Joe Grandy then. He freaking does it all the time, man. Yeah, no, that really didn't surprise me. It surprised me, honestly, when I saw him on the bottom after he got spun. And for a minute, I thought so, and then I'm like, dude, there's 15 laps left. I'm like, he'll get back through. And all of a sudden, there I'm looking up, and dude, I had the bottom ripping there for a little bit.
No, you did, because you had fallen back you were running around third there. You had fallen back to fourth, but then all of a sudden, man, those guys, they were dedicated to the high side. But, dude, you really found something in the bottom of 1 and 2. I wanted to ask you about that specifically because it seemed like, man, that's where you and Joe, man, you were making the money through there, working your way up through the field.
Yeah, well, you had to hook it just right. If you got up in the black at all, it was slower. But, dude, if you could nail it just right, man, you could come off there like a rocket.
Now,
nobody was going to catch Keith for sure, but...
No, but, Andy, you had a good run tonight, so I assume we're going to see you in the A's. Are you going to come out here and run the Renegades?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Now, since you saw how much success you had on the bottom, do we maybe make any changes? Do you think you can get that bottom to hook up even a little better here?
Tell you what, I don't know because, Renegades, there's more cars, but we ran, like, way late. So we ran a lot of laps into this track. So, somebody like Blake will freaking hook it up and he'll be gone.
That'll be the storyline most likely. But Patrick's going to hope you're wrong because Patrick is sick of losing championships to that kid. So he's going to have to do something about that. But hell of a job, Andy, man. You're one of my favorite guys in here. You have a lot of fun doing it, and you can really tell.
I do.
Congratulations, man. Who you want to thank on the P3?
My teammates, Inferno Motorsports, congratulations to Joe on coming back for the podium there, first of all, and then to take the championship too. So, now we'll all get to race in Renegades, so that's a good thing. Salty Dogs for sponsoring the Rebels division. And obviously you, Shaggy, you do a hell of a job.
Well, hey, Andy, I really appreciate that, man. I try my best. Sorry about the flubs and the delays tonight. Patrick Spangler, once again, the hero, man. I had everything typed in wrong. If it wasn't for that guy, I probably wouldn't be able to put my clothes on straight. But hell of a job, Andy. I'll be rooting for you here in this Renegades, man. Give those young guys hell here.
I'll give them what I got left.
There we go. That's the General Andy Patton bringing it on P3. And now we're going to bring up our winner here. We'll talk to Joseph Grandy last, but Keith Jackson, my oh my. It just seemed like, obviously you're racing with Joe there, but you got to be a little patient. But when you got that lead after that contact, dude, you just opened up the freaking can. That thing was a rocket ship, dude. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it was through a Port Royal setup in it, changed the gear, and hit the road with it.
Now, were we geared? Because obviously we saw some of the guys go to the inside, but you seem pretty hammered down on the outside. Was that what you were geared for? Did you kind of have to stick up there tonight? Was that the plan?
Yeah, just more comfortable up there at Charlotte than I am running the bottom. I think I could have ran the bottom, but had too good of a rhythm going to try to change it up, and I felt like I was making a good enough pace where somebody was gonna have to really work hard to pass me on the bottom.
No, you're exactly right, man. You don't fix it if it ain't broke. You win this thing by 3.7 seconds. We know what that means in dirt racing, dude. It's one thing to do that in, a 70, 80 lap asphalt race, but to come out here, drop the hammer, and just open it up like that, dude, really shows the talent. Congratulations, Keith, on a big win, man. Closing out the season on a high note. Who you want to thank, brother?
Thank all you guys that do these broadcasts, and Roger and them putting up all these races, and Jack, Devo, Gary, and Greg.
Well, hey, man, you earned the right tonight. We going to see you here in the next one. You going to go do some Renegades racing?
No, I think I'm going to hop off for the evening.
All right, man. Well, you behave. Have yourself a good night, and hopefully we're talking to you again here soon, Keith. Good run.
All right, buddy. Be good.
That's your winner, Keith Jackson, in the 113. And now we're going to bring up our champion here of the Rebels division, Joseph Grandy. Boy, oh boy. Not the way we drew that thing up, but man, hell of a result. What's going through your head there when you make contact with Bob?
I was mad at him at first, but then I realized it was my fault. I knew he was down there. You know, he's not paying attention to what line I'm running, and I thought I would get down to the bottom before he did, and then it's made a bad choice. So I figured, can't give it away like that, so I'm going to drive the balls off the thing and see what happens.
No, and, you said the exact same thing I saw and said almost word for word there, Joe, but that's a case of where, and this, like I said it live on the broadcast, man, this is no shot at Bob, but there is a little difference of skill between you two, and when you're going to run that bottom, you taught him the lesson. You got to lift out of that throttle. You can't drive in deep. And he's just not used to running that inside like you were. But boy, oh boy, man, we're watching right now. I'm so pissed at myself I didn't catch that live on the broadcast. Dude, on that restart, you put it right up against the wall and through no room at all, drove it around Steve Bixler. Dude, how did you do that? This is the first time I'm seeing that. That was crazy.
I think I did it twice. I think I might even did it to
I
Ross.
caught the second time. Yeah, I caught the Ross one. I caught that one live, but not that one.
I just figured I'm going to go all out. Whatever happens, happens.
Oh, dude, I was wondering how you got up there to Ross so quick to throw that move, and man, that explains it, dude. Holy crap, I can't believe you snuck through that one. But, man, that's the move that won you the championship, no doubt about it, because, you only won this thing by 8 points, I think. So,
yeah, it's a good battle between me and Andy.
Yeah, were you aware? I mean, obviously, when you get spun out, it's not looking good, but did you have an estimate, like, how many you had to beat him by or anything like that going into tonight?
I had no clue. I had no clue if I had to beat him or if I could be behind him. But me as a race car driver, no matter where I'm at, I'm gonna try to drive the win. So.
No, that's what you got to do, man. Especially after having the pace up front. Unfortunate luck, but man, you're able to turn that thing right around. Park, get on the top or that middle step, but bring home the most important piece of hardware of the season. Hell of a job, man. Andy said he's gonna come out here and run some Renegades. Are we going to see you come out here with the boys?
I planned on it. If I can get my wheels started working again here, I will be.
Well, thank who you want to thank on an amazing season, and go get that wheel working, man. I want to see you beat them boys.
I'd like to thank Catalytic Recovery, West Antonio Repair, all the guys over at Inferno, girlfriend Olivia for letting me do this, everyone at Coast to Coast, Heartline Racing Bodies, and Salty Dogs for getting this broadcast going. Thanks for doing the broadcast today.
Well, hey, man, hell of a run. Congratulations, champ. Looking forward to see what you can do in the Renegades next season. We both know you're that quality of driver, man. It was only a matter of time. Can't wait to see you pulling up some checkered flags up there.
Thanks, man.
That's your champion, man. Joseph Grandy in the 518. Bringing it home in P2 after quite the exciting middle stage of the race there. Has to go to the back of the pack, but that's nothing for Joe, man. $100,000 drove that thing right back up to the front. Andy said he knew it was coming the whole time. I don't know if I believe that, but, why would the general lie to us? I mean, he races with this guy all the time. He knows the talent. That's why he's got him as a teammate. Joseph Grandy, your Rebels champion. With that, we're going to take a short break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we're going to be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies. I told you I wouldn't forget. Renegade Sprint Car Series right after this. Stick around.
friends, it's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get... Tonight when we talked about it,
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Here I'm Zach Chapman with ShaggyTV, and into a little bit of a hiccup here with our SDK overlay here. It's been saying not found on my end. Now, doesn't want to pop up for you guys here, so we're going to hope that we figure this out. Or it's coming up for you guys. Not coming up for me, saying not found. Very weird. Not sure what to do about that. So I may be staring really small tonight at your guys' screen here if I can't get this to come up for me. Oh, there we go. The iRacing stuff pops up. Comes up for me, but like I say here, we'll watch it's one of the guys in the battle for the points here. Patrick Spangler. Coming into tonight, he's 13 points down on the salesman Blake Chapman. They both won 3 races here this season, excuse me. But Patrick Spangler has been coming up short in the championships here as of lately, and I know the 39, boy, oh boy, he wants this more than anything. Let's see what the training wheel racer does. Lap number 1, Patrick Spangler. P2 is 100 grand. Joseph Grandy. I told him to come out here and kick everybody's butt after that B race. I know he's got speed. Patrick Spangler going to throw a slider through 3 and 4. Purple through sector 1. He picked up time, but he's still going to stay P2. The high side banger, Patrick Spangler. The salesman, Blake Chapman. He's got one in the books here. He moves on up to P2. What can he do? Second time around. Slower through sector 1 and 2. Blake Chapman going to have to stick with lap number 1. As we see Stephen Goldner come out in that 30 machine. He does 1 lap there, puts it P4. The Goose joining us here, the 11, Chad Cote. He's looking to the middle through 3 and 4. He's quicker this time by. What's he going to do through 3 and 4? Quicker through 3 and 4 as well. What's the Goose? He's P10 for the moment. Chad Cote, 1 more trip around the racetrack here. What can he do? Final time through 3 and 4. The Goose quicker through sector 1 and 2. Quicker through sector 3 and 4. The Goose moves on up to P8. Chad Cote. And now, okay, that could be an important P8. That could be the invert if we only have 2 heats. We have 19 drivers. Gavin Chatham just registered. I'm not sure if that'll bump us to a 3 heat or not. But nope, 2 heats, and that P8's going to be everything. That was a good lap there for the Goose. Let's take a look here. Starting lineup, heat race number 1. To the outside, the 99 of Gavin Chatham. To the inside, the 87 of the General, Andy Patton. Row 4 to the outside, the gentleman in the 217, Jack Hitt. To the inside, the 814 of Brad Waite. Row 3 to the outside, the 79 of Dino. Dean Reynolds to the inside, the 78 of Jack Clevenger. Row 2 to the outside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. To the inside, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler in the 39. Row 1 for heat race number 1 to the outside, the Macho Man in the 042, Tyler Wilson. And starting on the pole in the 51, John Short. Of course it does. Even after me having to refresh it all those times, boy oh boy, there's a little part of me that believed that was going to come up and not be stacked over, but I kid myself once again here. Shorty, man, he's looking to lead the field here to the green flag. John knows what this means. Winning heat race number 1, well, it means starting on the pole. So John, he's got to give it everything he's got here. He's got to try to absolutely nail this. As we go through 3 and 4, the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 1 in the Renegade Sprints is underway. 8 to play. Shorty, man, he's going to get a rear end full of the Macho Man, Tyler Wilson, as he goes to the outside. He almost gets into the 518 of Joseph Grandy. They're 3 wide through 3 and 4. The high side banger. Going to have to find a way to get to the outside here and bang down that high side. He wants to find a way up to the front. He goes back down to the bottom. That's SJRN ShaggyTV 39 trying to make his way to the front. But Dino says, Shaggy, look at me, buddy. I've been finishing on the podium of these things lately. Shame on me for not being around to do the broadcast last Monday. I would have loved to be able to call Dino on his podium, and I'm going to try to will him on back to another one. As the 79, welcome to P4. Patrick Spangler in the 39 continues to struggle. Meanwhile, his teammate in the 42, Tyler Wilson, still setting the pace. But Joseph Grandy got enough time to strike here. He's just going to have to be perfect. You see, man, he's really reeling in that gap. We'll go over to turn 3 here. Watch him on entry. And Joseph Grandy, he's got to be smooth here. He's got 2 laps to go, but he may have enough time for a last lap slider with the way he is reeling in. Jumps the cushion a little bit. That's going to prolong this thing. Dino to the outside, trying to make a run on Shorty, but the white flag's in the air. There's one more trip around. Can 100 grand make one final move here to start on the pole for tonight's feature? He looks to the inside. The Macho Man, he ran conservative through that middle. Can't come back up. Joseph Grandy with a solid job, and he's going to start on the pole for tonight's feature. Tyler Wilson, that is exactly what I said can happen to you earlier tonight. I love looking like a genius. You go down there, you run that middle line, man. And then this is no shot at Tyler. It's happened to me 100 times. That's why I know you get looking in that rearview mirror. You're focused on what's behind you. You don't go to the outside. You run that middle line on entry, and you slide up on exit. But when you slide up on exit, the guy underneath you throwing the slider, he's going to do the same thing, and you don't have momentum to cut back underneath, and that was the difference. Big move for 100 grand there to win heat race number 1. Starting grid for heat race number 2. Rounding out the field, the 36 of Barry Goldner. Row 4 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. To the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 3 to the outside, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. To the inside, the Pink Panther in the 127, Jesse Atkinson. Row 2 to the outside, your current point leader, the salesman, Blake Chapman. To the inside, the 30 of Stephen Goldner. Row number 1 for heat race number 2. To the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. And starting on the pole, the 11 of the Goose, Chad Cote. As I clicked the wrong overlay, we're going to bring that one up. There we go. As the green flag's high, it's ready to fly. Heat race number 2 is underway. 8 to play. The Goose looking for a big run here through the middle of 1 and 2. Can he get up in front of the 56? The answer is no. Does he try through 3 and 4? No, he enters a little too high. Stephen Goldner trapped on the bottom. And the salesman, he looks to the outside. Blake Chapman trying to move on up to P3 as the war rages on in front. Randy Shreves cuts to the inside. He's trying to take the lead from the Goose. Chad flaps those wings, tries to cut to the inside. Blake, oh boy, he had to turn that thing down. He didn't want to get into the 11. That was a close call. And now Blake, he may join this party. Does he look under the Goose? No, he's going to stay in line. Plenty of time left. 5 laps to go as we come around this time. Jesse Atkinson in the 127 currently. Well, everyone's going to make the show, so my point's null and void. Just racing hard there with the 513 as we take a peek back up front. Blake Chapman, he knows he wants to bring home the hardware. He's got to do his best to finish up front in this heat. He's getting aggressive here, but Stephen Goldner looking to the outside. Goldner trying to make a run back here for P3. Goldner gets in that outside wall. He jumps down the racetrack, keeps it straight. It's all right for now, but Goldner going to lose a little bit of time. Randy to the inside. The Goose flapping away on the high side. Randy nowhere to go there through the center. Can't float up and do a slide job. We're going through 3 and 4 one last time before we see this white flag. 1 lap to go. Blake Chapman to P2 at the line. Blake with a slide job on the 56 of Randy Shreves. Randy, he's got to be smart about this. You're better than the point leader. Oh, no. Oh, he collects himself. Jeff Barker involved, but Chad Cote wins heat race number 2, followed by Blake Chapman, Jesse Atkinson, Bob DeGood, Barry Goldner, Terry Landis, Randy Shreves, Stephen Goldner, and Jeff Barker. But boy, oh boy, chaos on the final lap here in heat race number 2. We'll be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies season finale of your Renegade Sprint Cars here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. 35 laps between us and a new Renegades champion, or back-to-back Renegades champion. Can Blake Chapman hold on, get it done? Or can Patrick Spangler steal the hardware back? And, you know, I mean, maybe he'd have to rename his son to Renegade if he comes back and wins this championship. You know, it's never too late, Patrick, to edit the birth certificate. We know that now more than ever. As the checkered flag waves on the session. And we get ready to go play here in our flatline racing bodies. 360 Renegades feature. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. Rounding out the field in the 99, Gavin Chatham. Row 9 to the outside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker to the inside, the 814 of Brad Waite. Stephen Goldner lines up on the outside of row 8 to the inside, Jack Clevenger in the 78. Row 7 to the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves to the inside, the 87 of the General, Andy Patton. Row 6 to the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis to the inside, the 217 of the Gentleman, Jack Hitt. Row 5 on the outside, the 36 of Barry Goldner. Lining up on the inside is a man who's going to try to steal that trophy from Blake Chapman, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. Row 4 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood to the inside, the 79 of Dino Dean Reynolds. Row 3, the Pink Panther in the 127, Jesse Atkinson takes the outside to the inside, the 51 of Mr. Shorty, John Short. Row 2 to the outside, the 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman. Can he bring home the hardware one more time? To the inside, the 042 of the Macho Man, Tyler Wilson. Row 1 for your flatline racing bodies, 360 Renegade Sprint Car feature. To the outside, the 11 of the Goose, Chad Cote. And starting on the pole, your Rebels champion in the 518, $100,000, Joseph Grandy. As you've heard me say, 35 laps around the dirt track at Charlotte. Gonna have to keep some tire for the end of this thing, but you gotta put yourself in the right position to bring home the checkered flag, end your season on a high note. As we roll through 3 and 4, the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 35 laps to play in the clay at the dirt track at Charlotte. We're underway. Joseph Grandy slides right to the outside right away. Meanwhile, Blake Chapman, you see him get on the binders. He didn't want to be the meat in that sandwich. But looky who! Patrick Spangler, he says, remember me, Blake? I want this championship, and if you want it too, you're going to have to run in the middle 3 wide. Patrick Spangler moves on up. He's up 6 spots from the start of this thing, man. Started 9th, up to 3rd, the high side banger. He came to play here at Charlotte. The Macho Man, Tyler Wilson. I'm sure we'll see these guys race for now, but I'll tell you what. I think Tyler would be the first guy to give Patrick some extra points here if Patrick thinks it would be the difference. But right now we race hard, we race clean. And that's how we do it here in the Renegades division here at Coast to Coast Racing League. Blake Chapman to the inside, taken back over the podium. He said, Patrick, can't let that head get too big, man. I want this trophy. You're going to look at this tail tank here the rest of these 30 laps. Unless you figure out a way to back around, is the Macho Man Tyler Wilson. He is just trying to keep pace here with this 518 of Joseph Grandy, who absolutely was dominating the Rebels race earlier until we had a little bit of contact with the lap down car of Bob Curtis, and Grandy owned up to it. It was all on him as he gets in the outside wall as the leader. Oh, but the caution flag flies for the Gentleman Jack Hitt. Let's see if we can take a look, find out what happened to the driver of the 217. Looking like he gets a little friendly push here from Terry Landis. We're going to go back a little further. So now actually Jack looked pretty loose there. Not too bad. Terry just, I guess, he absolutely nailed the entrance. You couldn't have stuck a credit card between him and that left rear, so he had to turn in a little late. Didn't mean to go in there and collect Jack, but boy, the gentleman, he goes around after some hard contact here coming out of 2, and that's our first caution of the evening. But it's amazing what a championship will do to that confidence, and boy, oh boy, we talk about it in racing and just sports in general, man. Momentum, and Joseph Grandy's got all of it right now. He had gotten involved in that accident, shuffled to the back, drove his way back up to P2 in a matter of laps, and in some hellish ways, man, putting it on the outside 3 wide right against that outside wall with no cushion left. And right now, this racetrack is a lot different than what we just raced on. Truthfully, they were waiting for us to get all the hiccups fixed and get the broadcast back up on the right channel. So they had a lot of laps on that racetrack. Not that they don't on this one, but it's just not going to compare. The other one was a little further gone than this and about the same amount of cars. So it may catch up, but with the extra 5 laps. But man, I wouldn't catch my breath here. Still got a lot of grip here in the center of the racetrack as we roll through 3 and 4. 100 grand. Going to get ready to drop that hammer. We're back underway. Lap 8 this time around. Good jump for the 518. Oh, the Pink Panther trying to find a way around Blake Chapman. And with the 127, the 39, and the 42, man, they are teammates over there at Training Wheels Racing. So these guys want to do it, man, for their teammate. Want to help him out, want to find a way around. What happened? There to our leader, Joseph Grandy. Joseph Grandy lost connection. Joseph Grandy loses his connection in the 518. And Blake Chapman, welcome to the lead here at Charlotte. You're looking at your top 3. Top break for your Rebels champion here. As Blake Chapman, oh boy, the pressure's on. Can he hold on? 25 to go. Caution flag waves. Jack Clevenger goes around. See Jack Clevenger here in this 78. Let's see if we can pick out what happened. So it looks like they're maybe checking up a little bit in front. You see the 87 have to check up. Shorty. He checks up too, doesn't want to get in the back of the 87, and that's where Jack Clevenger floats up, gets into Shorty's left rear. The 56 of Randy Shreves was way off the pace there as well. Let's figure out what happened there. Well, what caused Randy Shreves to be so off the pace? So yeah, there was contact up here as well. So Randy gets into the 161 of the Desert Demon Terry Landis, comes back down the racetrack, hits the shell number 7 of Bob DeGood in the tail tank, and that maybe straightened him out. But the thing about it is straightened himself out right in front of the general, Andy Patton. Doesn't look like any significant damage there to the 87, but boy, oh boy, that could have been a close one. Lights are still on the Steve King Foundation pace truck, so not ready to go back racing here just yet at the dirt track in Charlotte. But you're seeing the top 2 in points on that front row right now. And man, oh man, Patrick, he's going to need some help here if he wants to bring home the hardware. I don't think a win over a Blake Chapman second is going to be enough to get it done. Lights are off on the Steve King Foundation pace truck because we'll go back racing this time. You should see that Steve King Foundation pace truck dive off, actually. There we go. Blake Chapman set to bring us to the green flag one more time. He's hoping that there ain't many flags left. He wants to get this thing over with while he's up front. Let's see as he drops the hammer here. Going with a little bit of a later restart. Good on Blake. Keep the field guessing. Look at that jump. Blake Chapman, no stranger to starting up front. Just exhibiting some of those skills there for you. Dean Reynolds, we talked about him a little bit. He had a big run last week, and Dino picking up right where he left off. Dean Reynolds 1 spot out of the top 5. Oh, 3 wide, Dean Reynolds. Welcome to P4. Oh, let him hear it, man. Megan, you better get ready to warm that or rub that guy's shoulders after this thing, because, boy, that took all the power he had to hold that thing right up there against the cushion. Dean Reynolds, man, he wants to come play with the Renegades here in Coast to Coast. Steven Goldner to the inside, trying to find a way back around the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Steven, man, just that team, they've been struggling compared to what we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing that 30 run around up front, but boy, man, these past couple seasons, the updates just haven't gone their way, and they just haven't hit the nail on the head just yet. There's Blake Chapman out front, holding on, running the inside, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler to the outside. Oh, and the caution flag flies. Brad Waite, Bob to good, Terry Landis. Oh, so the Desert Demon and Andy Patton make some contact. Andy up into the wall right in front of the 814 of Brad Waite, and Brad Waite with a vicious hit and roll. Terry then comes back down, clips the 7 of Bob to good. And Bob goes around and around, hard into the outside retaining wall. But Blake Chapman's still the man out front here. Plenty of time to play here at the dirt track at Charlotte. And Dean Reynolds, man, he's going to use up every second of this time. 1 spot out of the podium. Dean Reynolds, he's got to be the story of the race so far. So now we're feeling the pain in the lips. So apparently when I was numb, and that's what I get. I shouldn't have snacked on some French fries that my wife made, but I had to. I must have bit my freaking side of my mouth. Now we're starting to feel that one. Shame on me for not listening to the dentist. That's what I get. As the lights go off on the Steve King Foundation pace car, we should be single file here the rest of the way. That is our 3rd caution. So it's going to be single file restarts from here on out. And I think maybe Patrick not going to be too upset about that. Doesn't really have to worry about Blake choosing the inside and the Goose getting a good restart, getting around him. Not going to be able to pressure him down here going into 1, but I think Patrick going to be okay with the outcome here. Green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 18 to play as we're back underway at the dirt track in Charlotte. Jesse Atkinson trying to get a run on the 79 of Dino, who's all over the back of the 11 of Chad Cote. And the Pink Panther won't be able to really throw a slide job unless he's got enough speed for a 2-for-1. Because there's just no gap in there, no way to throw the race car in there. As Blake Chapman moves up to the outside. The high side banger, Patrick Spangler. Little slide job. Blake Chapman cuts back down to the inside, but give it to the 39 at the line. Blake with a slide job, Patrick Spangler, he's got to drop out. Tries to crack back under, and that's the respect from these two. Let them freaking hear it, because Patrick Spangler could have drove that thing around the outside, wrecked both of them. Blake even left him a lane, I think, to go do it, because Blake don't race like that. He wasn't sure if he could complete the slide job, and maybe everybody else, when they go back and watch this thing, maybe learn a thing or two. There's a reason these guys are battling at the top of the points championship every single season, because they race like that. And they bring it home to the end. They make sure they got something here when they cross the checkered flag. And Patrick knows, even if he gets around this thing, even if he gets around the 20 of the salesman of Blake Chapman, it may not be enough. He may need a couple more spots. We'll have to see when they factor in drop weeks. But Patrick doing absolutely everything he can as the top 2 in points, man, just going at it. Patrick back to the inside. Blake going to cut back under in the middle of 2. Advantage, Blake Chapman. Blake gets to the outside in time, can run the preferred line through 3 and 4. Patrick Spangler Cuts to the inside. Maybe found a little speed there in a diamond line through 3 and 4. Able to float up, but Blake Chapman, man, too tough to tame right now. Blake holds it down. He knew Patrick had a run. Didn't want to go up and shut that door. Patrick tried to cut back under. But these guys, man, they are just going at it. This is one of the most technical races you can watch between two sprint car drivers. They have to think 3, 4 laps ahead, man. It really is that big. Patrick to the outside. Blake left the lane open. What kind of run does he get? Not a good enough one to stick it up there and drive it in deeper. He's going to try. What can he do? Can he get to the outside of the salesman? Blake left him the lane. Blake gonna drive with respect here, and Patrick gonna do the same. Gonna cut underneath here. We're gonna see a slide job through 3 and 4. Patrick floats it up straight, able to catch the cushion, but give it to Blake at the line. Now Blake's gonna compromise his entry here in 1 and 2. But I think this is an okay spot. Patrick can't master the cut down through 1 and 2. I think Patrick needs to time this thing to do the cut down in 3 and 4. Let's see what he can do. He is... No! Caution flag flies! Oh, once again, Chad Cote, the goose, goes around here at the dirt track in Charlotte. Chad was in 3rd at the time. Gets in the outside wall, broke the right front, stuck in the outside wall, can't get it down, and the goose broken wing, and gonna pull that thing into pit road as the battle rages on up front. Man, oh man, we're gonna have 6 laps to go when we go back green. Patrick throwing every single thing he's got at this kid. Blake trying to bring home another Renegades trophy. I picked on him before. I've made him count how many are on that shelf beside him. I've done the same to Isaac. They both got a lot of them, and man, oh man, Blake trying to add more. He's going to, Gretchen, you're going to have to buy the kid a trophy cabinet at this point. We're going to have to get him a C2C trophy cabinet if he brings home another one. Maybe get Galen's popcorn carved into the cabinets. Work his sponsor into buying him that new cabinet. That's what he gets them all this time. He's made me buy 40 bags of popcorn probably, so. Code CART, 15% off. I mean, geez, kid's got me. He's made me memorize this thing. All the races he's won, but the Steve King Foundation pace truck dipped off without me looking, and we're ready to go back to play this time. We'll have 6 laps to go. The start's on Blake. He can go anytime now. There he goes. Goes a little earlier this time. He went later the last time. You got to keep him guessing, and that's a good restart from the 20 of Blake Chapman. Patrick, he knows he doesn't have a lot of time here. One more caution may spoil the run here for this 39 as the Pink Panther, Jesse Atkinson, slide job for 3rd. Dino cuts back under. He's going to throw a slide job in 1 and 2. Dean Reynolds trying to park this 79 on the podium, but the Pink Panther trying to get up there and help his teammate in the 39, Patrick Spangler. Just don't know if he's going to have enough time. 4 laps to go. We cannot take our eyes off this. I know there are plenty of other drivers in the league, but there are 2 guys competing for a championship, and they're right there on your screen as the high side banger looks to the outside through 1 and 2. Can Patrick Spangler pedal to the metal, drives it in on the cushion? Blake Chapman slide job. Patrick, he's going to look for a slide job here in 1 and 2. Blake able to cut down, and that's where Patrick isn't. Blake not driving up on that cushion when he sees the slide job coming. He's entering in the middle of the racetrack, and it's allowing him to turn back underneath as the white flag waves. 1 more lap to go here at the dirt track at Charlotte. The high side banger all over the tail tank of the 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman. Blake runs that middle and entry. He's going to slide up. Patrick tries to cut underneath. Oh, Blake Chapman brings home the checkered flag. And most likely the Renegades Championship here for the winter 2025 season. Oh, man, we're going to have to wait for him to get updated. But, boy, you would assume Blake Chapman brings home the checkered flag and another trophy. Patrick Spangler Gave it absolutely all he could in this 39. Let's go back. We'll watch this lap between the leaders here one more time. This is the white flag. Blake knew he had to go down and protect. That's exactly what he does. Couldn't afford a slide job. Instead, slides up, cuts off the momentum of the 39. Patrick tries to cut underneath, but just couldn't find it in. Blake Chapman, welcome to victory lane one more time. We're going to see here if we can get a word with the driver of the 127, the Pink Panther, Jesse Atkinson. Jesse, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I copy.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. We caught a little bit of it, but boy, I couldn't peel my eyes off those front two. I saw you throwing those sliders back and forth with Dino, man. How fun was that battle for P3?
That was fun. That was definitely a little bit of workout. I got this new wheel this season. It's putting me to work, so, you know.
What kind of wheel are we running on now, Jesse? What do you got now?
It's just a T300.
Hey, that's all right. But probably an upgrade.
That's a step up. Oh, yeah. I had a Logitech G27 or something, so.
Oh, dude, I ran that one with the PlayStation version for years until I finally upgraded to Moza, one of those direct drives. Got the cheaper end.
Oh, yeah.
They really do help. And, well, it shows out there, Jesse. You're able to drive that thing up there. You think with a late caution, you could have maybe went up there and mixed it up with those two, or were they just a little too quick tonight?
I think they're a little quicker than me. If I was quicker than them, which I don't think I'd, I think that's impossible. Come on. I don't think I'd mess with them. Championship night, they were both battling for it. I'm sitting back here pretty and wherever I am. So, always coming to Charlotte. It's statistically my worst track. So came in tonight expecting nothing more, and here I am on the podium. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, man, it seems like sometimes, you lower that bar a little bit, don't put the pressure on yourself, and, man, sometimes things just go right, and that's exactly what happened tonight, Jesse. Hell of a run, man. Way to bring home P3. Before we kick you out of here, who you want to thank?
I got to thank Training Wheels Racing, all the guys over there, Patrick and Tyler coming out every week. Ditmer every once in a while, of course. Got to thank you for putting on the broadcast. Got to thank Ager Esports, Forklick Media, all those guys over there. They're awesome.
Oh, my God. Patrick won the points by 3 after the drop weeks. Oh, my God.
Static about that.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was shocked. I thought Blake was going to get it. No way. Oh, man. Keep going, Jesse. I'm so sorry to ruin your moment.
No. We got to thank Spangler for finally winning this thing. My goodness.
By 3 points.
Training Wheels Racing. There you go. I think my parents for watching, my girlfriend for watching. I think the league for putting this all on. Obviously, it's a fun season to run. Always fun. Come out here every week, race these guys. So, yeah.
Well, Jesse, man, congratulations. And I know, man, when you go back down to that Discord after we talk to Patrick, you guys are probably going to have some fun tonight. Hell of a run, dude. Way to bring it home on the podium. Can't wait to talk to you again next season. Good luck the rest of your future endeavors here until I talk to you, Jesse.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The Pink Panther, man, bringing home P3. And now, boy, I'll tell you what, man, I didn't think there was a chance in hell I was going to be bringing you up first after you won that race. But, Blake, I look 3 points, man. What's going through your head?
Yeah, honestly, I can't believe I hung on to win that race, really, because I knew I had to get him by a couple of spots to get the championship. So, we were running first there, and the bottom was going away. Patrick was running that top, and we just had to go up there and defend. We had 578s in this car, and for reference, Patrick told me he had 504s in there. So this thing was really screaming at us. As it was made for the bottom, and we were making it work somehow in that middle of the top. We just had to be really, really careful with the throttle. And like I said, I just can't believe I held on to this one.
Well, yeah, no, you said it exactly right while you were talking about it, middle to top. We're watching you drive in slow motion. And Blake, that was the difference, man. I don't know if you could really notice inside the car, but when you were throwing your slide jobs on him in 1 and 2, he was entering up against the wall, and he would try to bite down or, bicycle down off that cushion and get underneath you going down the backstretch, man, but he'd lose that rear end every time, where you're entering that middle in 1 and you're hitting this little tacky spot. Did you know it was there through the center of the corner? Because that really was the difference. Your line was absolutely everything tonight through 1 and 2.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And, I was aware of this line. It showed up past races here at Charlotte, and if it wasn't there and I had to run the cushion, he would have had me dead to rights because there was no way I was getting around up there, the speed that he was running up there. So, we were able to run that line pretty well, and it's a really defensive line. He can't get around me running that cushion. There's just not enough room up there, and he's got to throw a slider. And he was losing momentum off the exit when he was doing that, and I had enough gear in it where I was getting a really good run down the back stretch and front stretch. So, it worked out for us here tonight. I didn't expect the race to go like that, but you got to be ready for anything the track throws at you.
No, you're exactly right, man. And you did your part. I need to do better at math here. I did not think there was a chance, and well, you know where, man, that if you won this thing, you weren't going to bring it home. But you obviously knew a little better than me. Knew you had to get him by 2 spots. And Blake, man, after a great season, you bring home a checkered flag. I know it's not the trophy that you wanted, but still, man, 4 wins in a season. That's a hell of a run, Blake. Congratulations on a good year, man. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching all year long, all season long. I got to thank the boys down at KSR, especially Terry and Shorty, for running with me most of the season. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Nandy and AJ Custom Creations. I got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring Renegades all season long. I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. It's always great to celebrate with some Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You can head over to their website and use code CART. That's CART at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious products. And of course, I got to thank everyone involved in the league for all their hard work this season. And I got to thank you for putting this on, Shaggy.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate you guys letting me do it. Man, some great racing every single time. You never disappoint. And Blake, I know we're going to have you back here in the discussion again next year. Give him hell, kid.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman just coming home short, winning the race. And I'll tell you what, I absolutely blew the call, Patrick, because at the end of this thing, I thought if Blake won, he was going to be the champion. But by 3 points, Patrick, you bring it home again, man. Right after the birth of your son, do we rechange the birth certificate? Do we name him Renegade now?
Maybe. I can't think of how many seasons we've had. Me and Blake have come down to a handful of points, and that's the difference. That's crazy.
Yeah, and when we look at this, I'm gonna go over and look at it here. We know once again, Patrick, you always talk about it. I don't get the exact number, okay, but I see he's at .023 and you're at .013, so that has to be, I'd imagine, maybe 2 incident points or something. So that would even close the gap even more, man. What's it like? You go out here every week and the championship could come down to as little as an incident point, man.
Yeah, I missed the first week, so that was one of my drops, and then the second race of the season, that for me at least, was Knoxville, and I got wrecked out and went down the lap, so I finished 18th. And then I just had 1 incident point at Williams Grove, and I just podiumed every race and got the 0Xs. And then I look at Blake's, and Blake, he had his 2 drop weeks were the only weeks he had incident points, so he 0X'd every race that counted. So he got every bonus point possible. So yeah, it's just crazy. They come down, you can podium every race and still almost lose the championship. So that's how tight the competition is here. You got to be on it every night.
Now, I don't know, you and Blake, a little bit different spots in life. You got a family. You're a busy man. Blake, he's still got some growing up to do, but he still kicks our butt on the racetrack. But were you aware going into tonight? Now, he said he knew that he had to beat you by 2 spots to win. Did you know that?
Yeah, I posted in Discord because last week I did the 2 drops. So with the 2 drops, I was 7 points ahead. But then on the site, it was just showing the 1 drop, which is what you probably saw where he had to win because he was up. So with the 2 drops, I knew I had a 7 point. But again, if he gets a 0X and I get a 2X, that's a 7 point swing right there. And he already beat me in qualifying. So I was running the top, but I hit the wall once and I thought I was going to get a 2X. So I got lucky I didn't do it. And man, that was a fun race, turning sliders every other turn with him.
Well, now that you knew that, I can yell at you a little bit. What the heck are you thinking? You got the championship running behind him, P2, and you're still running that hard. What did you want them both tonight?
I mean, that was just fun at that point. Like, I could have ran behind him, just ran down low, but throwing the sliders and keeping it clean and squeezing in between the outside wall and him, man, that was fun.
Dude, you're not kidding, man. I don't think I blinked and took this thing off you guys for maybe but 3 or 4 laps tonight. You guys were really putting on a show. And Patrick, I didn't actually, while you're up here, what happened there lap number 1, dude? Because I saw you just take off and you were up like 4 or 5 spots already on lap number 1. I'm going to go back and look at this. I almost forgot about it.
Tyler and Atkins, it's the same thing. They're like, you started behind all of us, and we're battling for the third out turn 1. I just hit the bottom in 1 and 2. I almost hit the inside tire, and I think I don't know where I was at turn 2, but I think I was 3rd or 4th. Like, I probably passed a lot of cars. I haven't went back and watched it yet, but it was. Yeah. I just put it as low as it can go, and I just stuck it there.
Yeah, you drive it under. Got it on there right now in slow-mo. You drive it under Dino, and then Blake. I'm not, obviously he's thinking about the points. He was sandwiched in between Tyler and Chad Cote, so he lifts going down the backstretch, and you sandwiched him right back in there one more time and forced him to lift out again. You took advantage of a monster restart, and boy, oh boy, that could have been the difference tonight, because not many guys can go from up there, 9th to 3rd in 1 lap. That's pretty damn impressive in a sprint car. Hell of a way to cap the season, Patrick. Before we kick you out of here, man, who you want to thank on the trophy?
Just you and Marty for the awesome broadcast you guys put on each week and everything you guys do for the sim. Just killer broadcast. You're the best guys on the sim. Roger for running the league and keeping this thing running. Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring 2 nights of racing and keeping these broadcasted. Triangles Racing with Tyler, Brandon, and Jesse. Just awesome guys to hang out with every week. Velocity Race Designs and Ross, Killer Wraps. Dad, Uncle back home watching. Wife for letting me race. Mason for sleeping during this time. My son. And next season, I'm going to try something a little different. So it should be interesting. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, hey, Patrick, first off, man, you know as well as I do all the BS I drag you into. This broadcast doesn't even happen tonight if not for you. So nobody deserves this more than you. All the BS you do behind the scenes that no one has any idea about, man. You do a lot on top of being a dad of 3, man. Congratulations on the championship. And, don't party too hard that you wake up little renegade here, man. Let him get some sleep tonight.
He has his victory milk coming in an hour, so we'll see how that goes. So,
all right.
Yeah, so I got a little bit of time before I have to go feed him.
Well, warm it up a little extra for him tonight, Patrick. Congratulations, man. Big win.
Thanks. Have a good night, man.
Patrick Spangler, man. I'll tell you, I'm not ashamed to ask it or to say this. I love Blake, but I told Patrick, I went down there in warm-ups. I said, you got to beat this kid, man. Blake keeps bringing home this trophy, and you keep coming home P2. And boy, oh boy, it was enough for the high side banger to get it done tonight. Congratulations to Patrick. He has had an eventful year, man. The birth of his first son, and now he gets to bring home a Renegades trophy as well. Congratulations to the high side banger, Patrick Spangler, as we get ready to wrap it up on the Coast to Coast Racing Network here. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, man, to a wonderful season. As he said, man, Marty, everything I've learned is from that guy. He's one of the best, and I'm honored to even be considered in that class. Marty normally does this, but he's had some computer issues, so I had the pleasure of picking up championship week here. So on behalf of everyone at the Coast to Coast Racing Network, we'd like to thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to Patrick Spangler, Joseph Grandy, and boy, oh boy, what happened to my mind here? Sam Bachman, that's right, I knew it was an FTM driver. Congratulations to your 3 champions here, and we're going to call it a night on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Have a good evening, and tune in tomorrow night for a little bit of Old Timers Tuesday. I'm Zach Chapman saying goodbye.